So I'm making this video because I've seen a lot of videos talking about the loneliness epidemic, and I've been so interested in commentary videos recently and videos where people ingrain their vlogs with their commentary. And I've been doing that a few months back, but I want to take a shot at it again because I felt more creative recently in art in general and then with these videos. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about the loneliness epidemic. For me, the loneliness epidemic hasn't been that sad. I mean, I can see why some people are sad, but for me, I had this one point in my life where I focused on just being to myself. And at first, it was hard, but I realized that I am my most self, I guess, when I'm by myself. And I've learned so much just by focusing on me. I think one of my biggest things with this commentary over the loneliness epidemic is that so many people paint it out as it's a negative thing when I think people should just be focusing on the fact that more people have more time to be to themselves, and that for growth, you really need to know who you are as a person. And I think overall, people have not figured themselves out just over the history of time. Like, so many people have thought about what society wants for them, what their parents want for them, what their friends want from them. But people haven't sat down and had periods to themselves and actually reflected on it. And I think the time that we have now is very different because a lot of it isn't us actually choosing to be to ourselves. It's more so people having to be to themselves due to either the pandemic or other situations. I think that talking about this loneliness epidemic has to be handled with care because there are so many things going on in our society in which why people are lonely, things that people just cannot control, very depressing matters. But overall, I am not going to be the one to say, oh yes, we should be thankful for these opportunities because they're showing us this and that. Because I think, honestly, stuff like that can be very damaging sometimes to say, like, oh, well, actually, the pandemic, it was great for me because, I actually learned so. Sometimes that can be very damaging. So I'm not approaching this topic from that lens of, oh, be grateful for all of this bad because now we're taking the time to ourselves. No. I'm just talking about solitude and loneliness in general and being alone. In general, I think that being alone can be a very good thing. I've seen a lot of people talk about how depressing it can be, and I think that that is true, but it's not like that all the time. And I think that sometimes solitude is just really a state of being. Like, truly, it's just being alone, and it doesn't have to be a negative or a positive. But what I've noticed from watching so many videos talking about the loneliness epidemic and people being alone is that it's always talked about from a negative point of view. It's always talked about, oh, well, this person can't date people. Oh, this person, they can't get friends and this and this. And I don't mean to say this from a stance of people don't need community, because that's not what I'm saying. But truly, for a lot of day-to-day things, you don't need a partner. You don't need friends in certain situations. And I think that in our society, in general, all over the world, people have depended too much on their wants and thinking that they need them. For instance, partnership, having children, having friends. There are some people who will tear themselves apart over not having any of those things, when in actuality, those are just big wants. Community is different. But a lot of these times, people will break themselves apart so much so that they will settle for any bit of those things. Like, there are so many people who will lower their standards for a relationship, lower their standards just so they can say they have a friend, lower their standards and have a kid at an age just because they think, oh, this is the age that I need to have a kid. And I think that loneliness and, well, not loneliness, but being alone can tell you so much about yourself and tell you so much about your wants and show you that you don't need these certain things that you want. And even though you want them, there are ways that you should go about getting them. And I keep saying that community is important, but so is loneliness. And I think a better way to articulate that is that people should center themselves first in their lives, and they should think about other people as well, but think about themselves first and think about their needs first. Not in a way that's harmful, but in a way that's selfish without it being bad, because selfish doesn't equal bad. There are a lot of things that are selfish that are for yourself and they're not hurting others. Anyways, I know so many people where they just cannot do things for themselves without feeling guilty. And I think a big reason why is because they haven't spent a lot of time alone and enough time reflecting while being alone. Like reflecting about things that they want, reflecting about things that they should do for themselves, not what they're doing for others. Like I know some people, they'll feel guilty just because of the way that they're dressing, because they think, oh, well, this person wants me to dress this way, this person wants me to dress this way. And it's like, you have to do things for yourself, you know, things that make you happy, things that make you feel fulfilled and whole. And I think just being alone and doing things by yourself can really show you what you want. I don't think every situation, even dealing with other people, that you have to be through situations with other people to realize what you want in life. And I feel like that's another thing that happens whenever people talk about loneliness and, oh, well, I need this person so that I can know about this and this and this. And it's like, you don't need to go through situations to know what you want. You can just think about things. And I don't know. I just feel like more people need to be alone. I'm just yapping, honestly. Like, I don't know what to say. This isn't scripted. I'm just saying stuff, so it's all over the place. And I'm just thinking, I wish I had a better stream of consciousness when it comes to actually speaking out loud sometimes, because whenever I pull out a camera and say stuff, it's so jumbled, but then in real life, it can be so much better. I don't know. But I've spent so many moments alone in my life, and they have been some of the best moments compared to when I'm out with others, like maybe going to a library or going to see a movie, grocery shopping. A lot of times, just doing things alone just feels normal because you don't have to depend on anybody else, or you don't have to, hey, are you ready? Hey, what are you doing? I'm about to do something real quick. Do you want to go? You can just do it. You can just go. You can sit in silence for hours if you want to. You can talk for hours if you want to. Yes, you can talk to yourself. But you can just truly do a lot when you're alone. And it's nice because nobody's judging you but you. And I've spent so many times where, even though I can be someone who talks a lot, maybe sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's nice to just look and go outside and look at a flower for too long without saying a word. Versus sometimes when you're with your friends, you know that you're going to talk and talk and talk. And it's nice, but it's nice to be alone too. Overall, I feel like I've done so much alone. I've listened to so much music. In these past weeks and months, I've watched so many movies. I've done so much graphic design work. I've created so many artistic things, and I was alone during some, and I was with people during others. But I'm always in my own head and alone in that way. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. All right. Thanks. Bye.